to Palmetto Publishing's YouTube channel. My name is Brenna. I'm a social media manager here at Palmetto, and today I had the amazing opportunity to sit down with Miss Sophia.
Hi guys.
Sophia is on our project management team, and we thought it'd be super fun to sit down with Sophia today because, as you can tell from her t-shirt, she is obsessed with books. Sophia is an avid reader. Just this year alone, she has read 41 titles, and that list is growing rapidly. I know the last time I talked to you, you were at 30, which was like last week.
Yeah.
And now she's read like 11 more books, so she's flying through them. So I thought it'd be really fun to sit down today and kind of hear from a reader's perspective what you look for when it comes to like community online, what you look for when it comes to design of a book, what type of genres you like to read. So we thought it would be super fun to sit down with Sophia and pick her brain on all things reader perspective.
Of course. So as Brenna said, I'm now on my 41st book of this year. Last year I read 101 books. This year I'm trying to get to 75. But I mostly enjoy a lot of romance, fantasy, romantasy, women's fiction, thrillers, mysteries, pretty much anything that's gonna like keep me up at night and like keep me wanting to read more and more. I am guilty of staying up way too late to finish books. If they end on a crazy cliffhanger on a chapter or something, I'm like, oh well, I guess I just have to keep going. But I've always kind of loved reading since I was probably in elementary school, middle school.
Was there one book in particular that really kind of sparked this whole like everything that you are, like an avid reader?
I read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and that kind of kicked off my fantasy, romantasy, whole
obsession.
So that's when I started reading a lot of fantasy, a lot of romance fantasy, and that really got me into the genre, and I could not put it down. I think I read, so that author has 3 series. No spoilers here, but read them all together. And I think I read all 3 series. One has 5 books, one has 8, one has 3, and they're all between like 500 and 800 pages-ish. I think I read all those 3 in like 3 months.
So out of the genres that you traditionally read, are there certain like character types that you're really drawn to? What do you look for within like a plot?
I would say some of my favorite characters are really strong female main characters, especially in fantasy books where they're out saving the world, saving their kingdoms, just like either warrior type women or queens that are going to like save their kingdoms in a different way.
You know, from working in the publishing industry, you can judge a book by its cover, actually, because that is kind of your first point of contact with the book. When you go into Barnes & Noble, you're on Amazon, and you're kind of searching for your next read, what do you look for in a great cover design? What elements really catch your eye?
Of course, so I would say specifically with thriller books, I kind of notice like those darker, ominous looking covers that, I'm like, all right, something creepy, something crazy, something that's gonna keep me on my toes is going on in this book. I read The Girls Who Disappeared last year, and I had a friend who recommended it to me. I picked it up and I said, wow, this cover looks really good. But let me go ahead and read it. I think I flew through that book in 24 hours. It was so good, and the cover was cool. It drew me in. It was kind of creepy, kind of ominous. It was very dark. It had like I think it was a cabin on the front cover with like twilight kind of sky in the background. Good first impression. As for romances, usually I go for like the more colorful covers. If they have cartoon characters on the front or flowers, things like that, I think are really fun.
I know with hardcovers as well, those are great collector's items, especially for someone like yourself who probably has a beautiful display of books in your bookshelf at home. Do you like to get hardcovers, special editions? Do you feel like those really stand out to you?
I do. I really like, so I'm a big special edition. I also think I'm a big book collector. So I have some that either are tour editions of books that are hardcovers, normal special editions that you can get at Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. There's also, the book subscription boxes that do special editions of those. And sometimes if I can't get those through the subscription, I will purchase used books of those. So I think with those special editions, a big thing too is the sprayed edges right now. A lot of publishers, book boxes, new authors are doing sprayed edges, either a solid color or a design on the side, usually with new end papers or embossing on the cover, foiling on the cover. So those are all things in addition to the cover as a first impression that if I'm buying a special edition book, I'm looking at.
If you had your production team hat on and you were talking with an author who might be considering doing some hardcover copies, what would you say some of those benefits are?
Of course. So I always recommend with my authors, if they do a dust jacket, to also do the book to be case laminate, which is the cover design printed directly on the hardcover. Not only if you're like me and you take a hardcover and you almost immediately lose the dust jacket, that you have the cover printed directly onto it, but also I feel like that is coming into style a lot lately. While it's not a special edition book I have, there is this series that I read recently that I loved, that there's no dust jacket, it's just case laminate book, and that's starting to become really popular, because it's different to readers. Instead of just having the gray or black or whatever blank hardcover and the dust jacket. So I think the case laminate looks really cool, having it printed directly on there. I would always recommend that for authors.
Too, that books make such a great gift, and since they make such great gifts, they're wonderful to pass down to future generations. And when you do have those hardcover books, they tend to be a lot more durable and last longer. I know I've gotten books from my parents that are hardcovers and they still look amazing, and I can use them not only as decor, but I can enjoy them as well. So I like that for authors who kind of want to have something that readers can memorialize and pass down to their loved ones. You are pretty into the online book community on TikTok, Goodreads, and Instagram. How do you use social media as a channel to find new books, to connect with other readers, to connect with your favorite authors?
Of course. So I mostly do a lot of the Bookstagram. I've been on there for almost a year now. I've made a lot of friends. One who actually just came to visit a week ago to meet, like a Bookstagram in real life meetup, and that was fun. But I get a lot of good book recommendations, book reviews. I like to see what people are buying, what new books are being released by some of my favorite authors, whether there's going to be special editions of new books by my favorite authors, if they're going to be on Kindle Unlimited. So those are a lot of ways. I'm also in a Bookstagram engagement page where it's like an engagement / readathon. So there's, I want to say like 75 of us in that group now, and we just talk about books all day, and it's so fun. It's not specific books, it's kind of everyone talks about what they're reading, and if someone else has read it, they will say, oh my gosh, I loved that book, or this was my rating, things like that we are just constantly talking about, whether it's reviews, books we've read, new releases we're all excited for. So we're really active in that group, which is so much fun. Personally, for my own page, I do a lot of either reviews, hauls, new releases. I'll do favorite tropes, favorite female main characters, favorite male main characters. I did one yesterday for National Cowboy Day for the cowboy romances. That was fun.
How can authors tap into this community of readers and begin to engage with them and kind of build community there?
Of course. So I think nowadays there are a lot more authors that do engage on the social media a lot more. Especially, again, I see it a lot on Bookstagram. I think there's some authors too. One of my favorite books that then a sequel is coming out week after next. The author actually started just doing videos on TikTok, and she ended up thinking, oh, well, would actually make a great book. Wrote a book, and now it's like a huge bestseller. So I think that's really cool. And she still posts videos she'll do like dialect between the two characters, and it's so fun. But a lot of the authors too will host either live videos for readers to watch. They'll share a lot of Bookstagrammer's content, whether it's, a review of their book, fan art of the characters, things like that. So I do think authors are becoming more involved in the social media aspect of books, especially with book subscription boxes. Normally when they do a book subscription box, they'll get the author to do like a book Q&A video. Or
tell us more about book subscription boxes.
I could talk about book subscription boxes for years. So I actually just got off the wait list that I've been on for almost a year yesterday. So I think book subscription boxes have become really big in the last couple of years, kind of with the rise of Bookstagram, BookTok. So a lot of those book subscription boxes will do either new releases, usually they're romance or fantasy or mysteries. Or romantasy. They'll do young adult books or adult fantasy, so it kind of just depends on which box does which. I have the Illumicrate, which is a fantasy series subscription box, their romance subscription, Afterlight. I just got off the waitlist for Fairy Loot's young adult and adult book box, and the Bookish Box Darkly box, which is, I believe, their adult romance subscription. So in lieu of like overbuying books, I just kind of now wait, I still buy books constantly, but but I now get these new books that some of them are really popular books, some of them are up and coming authors who it's their first book, their debut authors, it's their debut book, and they're trying to get more traction, and some of those books have been some of my favorite books.
I feel like with the reader community, you guys are like die hard for these books. Like, it's a fan base that I haven't seen as much like passion from other fan bases about. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for authors to really tap into that. Like in the marketing world, we call those like customer evangelists. Like, obviously they've bought a product from you, but it becomes to a point where they like believe in you and your mission and your story so much that they, without being like paid or asked to, they just want to talk about your product, service. In this case, we're talking about books. And I feel like that's one thing that really sticks out to me about the reader community.
Oh, yeah.
So can you kind of elaborate more how there could be a lot of maybe untapped into opportunities for authors to interact, to engage, kind of share more about that?
Yes, so there definitely are big followings for books like the Sarah J. Maas series, The A Court of Thorns and Roses, Throne of Glass, Crescent City, other series like From Blood and Ash, Colleen Hoover books, Ali Hazelwood. Those authors have very big fan bases. So we will share anything those authors posts. We will comment how much we love the book. We'll make posts about how much we love these books. Whether it's fan theories, different special editions we have. So I think for authors, it's good for authors to kind of tap into bases, especially ones that maybe if they're within the same genre, say, hey, for aspiring authors or new authors, tapping into that kind of fan base, saying like, hey, I wrote a book that's kind of similar to this or within the same genre, you guys should check it out. So I think tapping into bases within the genre is really good for authors, especially to, providing snippets from the book, sharing quotes that would really entice people in it, sharing fan art of their own book or, release dates or...
So I know you've talked a lot about really big authors, which is wonderful. They have these massive cult followings. I think it could be intimidating if you were a new author. Maybe you're going to be releasing your debut book. If you don't have this cult following already, how can you get to that place? And that could definitely be intimidating for a lot of authors. I do feel like there could still be opportunity there, just starting to build smaller communities and, you know, continuing to nurture those and watch them grow. Do you feel like there are opportunities for smaller authors as well who might be debuting a book? How could they maybe kind of get into this community if they're unsure, don't know how it works?
Of course. So I actually, one of my good friends that I met on Bookstagram, she does a podcast with her niece. They do talk about a lot of the big books, but they also are very into indie authors, self-published authors, and they have started doing interviews with these authors and posting them to their podcast page. So I think that's getting authors more traction, especially within the Bookstagram community, because these girls have a lot of followers. Their podcast is now gaining traction, so things like that can get authors more out into the community. A lot of things too is a lot of these new independent published books are either on Kindle Unlimited, where people with Kindle Unlimited subscriptions can read them for free. If these independent authors want to start interacting more with the Bookstagram community, I think that's really well received within the community. Authors who are reaching out, you know, saying, hey guys, like I published this book, I'm really into it. You know, it's on Kindle Unlimited, or I can do a giveaway for my book if someone wants to win a giveaway of their book, so then they could post a review for it, or to gift a reader a copy to write a review. Things like that are all going to get independent authors, at least in my opinion, more traction, more viewers, to tap into that community, and to kind of, the best thing is to put yourself out there. And the book community is really welcoming. Like I said, I've made a bunch of friends on the Bookstagram. We talk about books, we all love books at the core of it, and we love new books. So new books, if, you know, we see a new book, a lot of times we'll either go and pre-order it on Amazon or Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, one of those big ones, or we'll wait for it to come out to read it on either Kindle Unlimited or buy it for our Kindles, things like that.
Well, Sophia, thank you so much for sitting down with us today and kind of giving us a reader perspective, which we don't get to hear too much, which is always nice. You had a lot of great insight on how authors can kind of get into that BookTok, Bookstagram community, and how they can begin to engage with readers, even if they are a new author, which is awesome. So thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Of course, thank you for having me. I love talking about books.
And authors, if you like this content and more of our videos on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We would love for you to join our community here on YouTube. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.